Hi people, and today I'm going to do a video about part-time Sheriff John Halley. And this article here is in the Scottish Legal News on the 29th of May. Now, John Halley is a decent guy. He was appointed to the Child Abuse Inquiry in 2015, I think as senior counsel, and he had various run-ins with Lady Smith, warranted ones, I do say, because he was actually trying to get the whole remit of the Child Abuse Inquiry in Scotland is to look into allegations of historical sexual abuse and wrongdoing in care home settings for children, etc., schools, wherever. And he was trying to get the Fetty's Gate, which happened in the 80s and 90s with Tam Payton involved and various other, really bad characters. And they were protecting their own, So I'll put links into this, the sinister truth about Fetty's Gates. This Lord Darvid, is it? Lord Derivid, whatever his name is, he was seeking out rent boys, and he was protected by the judiciary. There was various of them. It just goes on the tangled web that distracts attention. It was called the Black Magic Circle, and a guy called Donaldson apparently set up a break-in into Fetty's, and all evidence was contaminated and taken, and the usual crap that they do to just cover up the wrongdoing. Anyway, John Halley, Sheriff John Halley, and bear in mind he's got a background in social work and residential care, so he's seen these traumatised kids coming through care, and he tried to get this reopened, and there was no way the obligated Freemasons or Eastern Star was having any of this. They were having none of it. So, basically, they went after him. So, John wrote a book, I think it came out at the end of 2022, the start of 23, and it is called A Judicial Monstering. And there's that book on Amazon there, and it's got great reviews. I've started reading it a few months ago, but it was quite harrowing, but I will get back to it. But it's got great reviews. Now, there's John there. John Halley is an experienced court advocate, judge and writer, and a prominent whistleblower on child sexual abuse issues in Scotland. He was the first appointed counsel to the Scottish Child Abuse Inquiry in 2015, career 1990-96, residential social work with adolescents in care, and he's seen it firsthand what was happening, the trauma. Broad and civil criminal court practice, high court prosecutor, and jury expertise, and he came on to be a part-time sheriff. Now, when this book named people like Alistair Duff, and various other things that were going on, and then all of a sudden, boom, former child abuse inquiry lawyer John Halley faces sex charges. And this was, I'm sure it was just on the back of his book, or his book was ready to be released or whatever. And they get wind of this, and this is what they do. They get their networks, remember, they've got unlimited resources, monetary wise, because we fund them. They've got unlimited networks, very dark networks, and that's what they'll do. They'll have their wee in-service and house meetings and say, let's go after him because he's exposing us, And interestingly, they put John's address up here. Not his specific address, but it's Caddenfoot near Galashiels. Now, I think Caddenfoot's just a small wee village. This was to besmirch and attack him where he lived. They never put Duff's address up, but they put his up. And the previous videos I've done about Sheriff Duff, who says he was watching porn, but he's a recognised paedophile who should be on a sex offenders list, but still roaming free. And his wife still sits on the bench at Dunfermline, You know, so this is what you're up against, people. Honestly, so this is what they'll do. And John wasn't one of theirs. John was one of us. John wasn't one of theirs. John was one of us. He probably took a path through compassion into a field where he thought he was going to get that lose of some sort of justice or make a difference, you know, and it doesn't happen in these toxic arenas. You know, it doesn't happen. You know, it does never happen. You are working with very, very dark people. Lord Hardy's involved in, you know, mentioned in this as well. And Lord Hardy, interestingly, the other day, I've lost that actual link, but I will put it up. He got 1 million recently for the trams investigation in Edinburgh, and he says that he didn't want a freedom of information went in about him, and he says he didn't want to give much detail because he was scared in case journalists targeted his home address. I mean, these people, honestly, they're meant to be highly skilled, educated people, and they come out with that. You know, the gold justifies the means. Remember, Judas got 30 pieces of silver. You know, they seem to like that number 3. Anyway, getting back to John Halley, so they've besmirched him, they've attacked him, they've removed him from the bench. To be honest with you, in amongst all this, the man took cancer, and they've done him the biggest favour of his life by removing him for toxicity. You know, and away from their horrible energies and entities that they represent, the black cloak, the wigs, the bench, the bar, whatever. Anyway, here is you know, Lady Smith. Now, she's a character in herself. So she was to get removed. She failed to disclose links to private schools. Her husband went to Fetty's. Remember, it was called Fetty's Gate, where they were involved in the rent boys and the whatever they were doing, you know, the wee laddies. And it's just disgusting. You know, they're disgusting people. But anyway, you know, she failed to disclose, and her son or daughter went to her husband went to Fetty's College, and her son and daughter went to Edinburgh Academy, and she's sitting presiding over these schools, you know. So there's been plenty calls for her to be removed. Abuse survivors, and this is quite recently, it's in the last year or so, want her removed. That was in 2024, just about 6 months ago. I was at a hearing of that child abuse inquiry in January, and just looked at the money that's been spent and the lavish surroundings. And, you know, I've been involved with it for a couple of years now, quite a few years actually, and it's just a ruse. It's a ruse, you know. Enhancement of CVs, corrupt dealings, and, you know, game people, you know, clumsy financial compensation. And these people are riding off the backseat as per norm. It was John Gwinney, no Swinney, who was an ex-cop. He was in charge of it for a while. He had his police cop and pension, and then he was getting something like 556 a day or something. Didn't quote me on that, but I put a couple of freedoms of information in about it. And just sadly, I didn't think, look, John Halley should see this as actually having a great beacon of light and gratitude that he's out of that system. But this is the bottom paid for media with you know. This is it. So I'm going to give you a wee passage that we composed for John, and it'll be going up on our new website, which is Authentic Rights Movement Scotland. We'll put a link up to that. And, you know, that tells you a lot about what the work that we're doing alongside others. Trying to expose their corruption. Very difficult because, you know, they've been at this for years. But I will leave you a wee passage for John, and I hope that we're able to support John and people that are trying to highlight in the system the very wrongdoing, and especially in the judiciary.
Part-time Sheriff John Halley isn't a fringe agitator. He's the rare legal mind brave enough to shine a spotlight on a system that would rather whisper than confront its own failures. From his tireless work for abuse survivors at the Scottish Child Abuse Inquiry to the principled stand he took against discrimination, Halley embodies the very spirit of fearless advocacy. His offence: holding power to account with blunt honesty, something our self-protecting judiciary clearly can't tolerate. Let's be real, the corridors of Scotland's courts have become a velvet fortress, staffed by lawyers and judges more interested in preserving their reputations than serving justice. They preach impartiality, then pull rank to silence anyone who dares question them. When Halley called out misconduct, they wielded their institutional muscle to label him unfit rather than grapple with the substance of his claims. This isn't about decorum, it's about maintaining a monopoly on truth. By removing Halley, the judiciary revealed its true colors, a closed-shop network where unchecked alliances and secret loyalties matter more than the public interest. They've weaponized procedure to punish transparency, sending a warning that speaking up could end your career. But Halley's removal won't chill us, it will galvanize us. His book, A Judicial Monstering, rips off the mask and forces us to ask uncomfortable questions. Who protects the powerless when those sworn to justice betray them? Now more than ever, we need to rally behind Halley's fight. Demand a review of his removal, push for open hearings and genuine accountability, and refuse to let a judiciary addicted to self-preservation dictate which truths we're allowed to hear. Real reform starts with John Halley, and with every one of us refusing to stand down.
Thanks, people, and I'll leave this up to you to see if you want to comment, or we will obviously keep badgering these people to try and hold them to accountability. And just let's hope that John's life actually takes a turn for the better now. And I'll leave it there. Have a good day.